Welcome to Sugar and Ink, a podcast about living the plus side of life.
Hi, I'm Sugar from Sugar It.
And I'm Samara from Blonde Ink.
And you're listening to the Sugar and Ink Podcast. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about your relationship with your body and why it's not always going to be an easy thing or something that just comes supernaturally. So that's topic of the week.
And there's a reason we've picked that topic.
Yeah, we're going to dob ourselves in and say that we're not feeling overly great in our own skin at the moment.
No.
Both of us, that is. So
yeah, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit in episode 4, it might have been.
Oh, God, don't use numbers. You know I don't count so well.
I think it's number 4. Don't hold me to that. But, yeah, we kind of talked about how we've been a little bit slack lately. I know I've been really slack leading up to, like, work was crazy, and it's always when work seems to be feral or your social life is really crazy that you kind of forget to look after yourself.
Yeah, you just make, and I call it bad choices, but you know, let's leave good and bad out of it and just consider that just something I say. But you make bad choices.
100%.
You know, you don't sleep enough, you run hours, like you operate hours and hours past when you should, you're not eating the best food to fuel your body, all that sort of stuff. And as much as we say do what you want with your body, I think we can all agree that, you know, when you're being nice to it, it definitely feels better to live here.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed it's the feeling like I feel tired a lot. I feel really sluggish. I feel guilty when I'm eating certain things, or I feel guilty if I haven't gone for a walk for a while, and I kind of, you know, probably make myself feel worse just by mentally putting myself down.
You're making yourself feel worse, 100%.
Yeah.
But you're not the only one. Let's face it, we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
We live in a society that tells us that we have to be motivated and fit and beautiful and high functioning and sane every single hour of every single day.
Yeah.
And it's just not possible. It's not possible to be all those things 24/7, and I don't care who you are. So no wonder we're a little crazy about it and feeling bad because we can't meet up to this standard that is in all reality just ridiculous.
Yeah. And I do hate when, I hate it, but I agree, like, I'm a bit torn. You know, when people say you really need to prioritize your health in terms of eating, like, you know, food prep and putting time aside to exercise and all that sort of stuff. And the thing is, I think I have the time there. I could definitely have the time, but it's now been so long that I'm completely out of that mode that it's really hard to get back into it. Like, the first thing I want to do is just sit on the couch and watch TV when I get home from work because I'm so tired.
Netflix has a lot to answer for.
It does.
It really does.
And the new season of Game of Thrones, god damn it.
Oh, I actually have never seen any Game of Thrones.
Oh my God.
I'm that person.
Oh my God, it's so good. You're missing out.
People say that, but I really don't feel like I am.
Oh
I'm
my
okay.
Gosh.
I literally can't hand over any more of my life to TV. I don't have it. It can't happen.
It's like I've gone back to when I was in high school, and because Game of Thrones comes out on a Sunday night in America, which is, you know, Sparrowfart Monday here. So we don't get to watch it till Monday night. Yeah. And it's like the old school, you know, watching Friends on a Wednesday or a Thursday night or whenever. And like everyone watches it at that time. And then the next day, everyone's talking about it. It's really kind of old school. I love it.
That's very prime time, isn't it?
Yeah, but I kind of love it because it's that excitement again of like I get to go to work the next day and I get to talk to my friend Gemma about it and I'm so excited. And it's, I'm really loving that old school kind of everyone's watching it at the same time and then everyone talks about it the next day at work. I love it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really talk about TV. We talk about movies at my work. We're really into movies, especially old movies. So we're completely irrelevant. But yes, that was a dramatic sidebar into our viewing habits. Sorry, every time I say I don't watch Game of Thrones, that happens. It really does.
I bet it does. So back to how we feel about our bodies. So I think the main thing we really want to talk about, especially to our listeners who might think, well, you're just kind of born with that attitude or you've grown up maybe in a household. You know how some people grow up in really feminist households and they attribute their upbringing to their attitudes. People might think we've grown up in really body positive households.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of ingrained in us, which for me it's definitely not.
In some ways, my household, like there wasn't a lot of conversation about size or weight in my household, and in that sense, mine was quite a body positive household. Mm-hmm. My mum though was always dieting. My dad was very anti preservatives and sugar long before anyone was. So in that sense, there was always like this focus on what we were eating, more on what our bodies look like. Mm-hmm. It was quite regimented in terms of you can eat this, you can't eat this. This month, our diet looks like this, and the next month it might look a little Atkinsy, which was such a 90s thing.
It's so 90s. I love it.
I think they call it something else now, like keto or something, but, oh, God, I shouldn't say that out loud.
Ketogenic?
I think I think they're completely different things, but so I'm going to get lynched. But, yeah, so I did come from a household where the size and shape of my body wasn't like a topic of conversation in the way that it was outside of my household. Mm-hmm. I think because, like my mum always says, you don't get Shetland ponies out of draft horses, and I'm from I'm from quite hardy stock, so you can't put families of like these are farming families, athletic families. You can't put those sort of body types into a girl and then expect her to be a delicate flower, It's just not going to happen. And I think they were quite aware of that in terms of while I was, living a life that I was capable of living, there was really zero conversation about what my body looked like inside my house. Mm-hmm. Plenty outside, plenty of strangers thought or extended family thought they could have an input, but...
Yeah, I think, my upbringing was very much, I was kind of the fat person in the family. Okay. So, and my mum was naturally very fit and had a great metabolism. Even now, as she's gotten older, she her metabolism's still pretty amazing. Whereas my dad's was not. When he was in the army, he was very fit and looked a certain way, and then coming out of the army, put on a bit more weight because he's not doing as much physical stuff. But I definitely was the bigger person, especially being a child. Like, I was bigger than my brother and sister. I was kind of normal compared to most kids at school, but, even being normal, you get picked on. If you're not, the minority in terms of being skinny and all these sorts of things. And my mum certainly, shoved, I think we've talked about this before, shoved me in every goddamn sport, and I hate sport. So I was just probably the most painful child in the world, because my mum loves sport and loves any kind of exercise, and I was just like throwing tantrums and throwing ballet slippers at her because I didn't want to have a bar of it. And, so I was very aware of my weight because my parents were trying to make me do all these sports, and like my parents would make little comments, which I don't think they realised at the time what that does. Yeah. And certainly now my mum would never say those things to me now. She kind of understands a bit more what that does.
Yeah, the impacts that sort of conversation. And let's face it, you're a child.
Yeah.
Like, why are we talking about bodies, you know? And all that focus on, you know, weight and fat and, you know, active kids and all that sort of stuff. It really has, all it's done is get us to where we are today, which is, you know, #obesity crisis.
Yeah.
So I think you guys came up with this plan and you were talking to kids like that. Those kids now are adults and we don't really know how to feel about all this stuff that was said to us. And now we're raising kids, and it's kind of like you created a cycle here of people who didn't know how to stand in a relationship with their own body because you just said to them, oh, it doesn't matter that you're living life and being active and eating food. It matters that you look a certain way and it matters that you fit in. And your body's wrong, okay, yours is right. Yours would be right if you lost 5 kilos, yours is wrong. And it's just kind of like, well, what did you think would happen?
Yeah. And I think there's no one really appreciates the fact that bodies are different. Like, my brother and sister have great metabolisms and I don't. So me eating the same food as them and exercising the same as them is not going to make me look the same as them because my metabolism is a lot slower. So I feel like there just was kind of a lack of education in that particular generation, especially when I look at some of the things we used to eat now. You know, now there's all this stuff about eating food in its most natural form is the best for you, which makes a lot of sense. There's less preservatives, less that's been done to it. But we're back in that Tupperware generation of, you know, like spaghetti bolognese for dinner and, you know, everything came with, you know, potato or, you know, some kind of satay rice dish on the side and like you'd always get dessert. My house, we always had dessert afterwards. And so that's something that's ingrained in me, that I always have to have something after dinner, but I try and make it now. Well, actually at the moment I'm having like a Milo every night because I love Milo, but I should be making it a cup of tea instead. But it's these childhood things that I just can't get out of me, which is terrible. I have no discipline, clearly.
Let's face it, when you grow up a fat kid and people are trying to regulate food, your relationship to food and your relationship to your body just becomes so intertwined.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a girlfriend of mine, she ended up seeing a counsellor a couple of years ago because her, like, binging and then starving cycle of dieting was so far out of control that, you know, she was just like, this is ridiculous. I can't live like this anymore. This whole idea of I can have a perfect diet as long as I'm tough enough or motivated enough, or what's the other word I'm looking for? Focused maybe enough. And the fact is that there is no such thing as a perfect diet. When it comes to a relationship with your body, you have to stop listening. And that can be to everything. And for me, my experience just forgetting everything actually led to weight gain and then like a stabilization in terms of a fitness and that sort of regime. I think you just have to find your own way a little bit. And when you start getting dragged from here to there with diet plans, exercise plans, and thoughts and ideas of what you should be doing with your body, you hand that control over again. You give it to someone else, you throw it away, it's not yours anymore. And I think to have a relationship with your body, you have to have it. No one else can have it.
Yeah. And I think, finding something that your body's comfortable with. Like, you don't just go, okay, CrossFit is what's going to work for me. Try CrossFit and think, I'm fucking miserable. Like, kind of then go, okay, this doesn't work for me in my body.
CrossFit would be your worst nightmare.
Oh, my God.
That's why I'm laughing behind you trying to make what I'm sure was an elegant point. I'm so sorry, but all I was thinking was you would fucking hate CrossFit.
My God, I couldn't think of any. I've seen it and I'm like, why does anyone do this? Why?
I'm fascinated.
Why are they smiling while they're doing it? This is ridiculous.
I just think, oh, look at all those heavy weights, and look at how I know they're lying when they say they're having fun, but all those endorphins have to be going somewhere, right?
And then I'll be over here with my yoga mat, meditating, stretching, while I watch you crazy people.
And that's it, right? It's exactly what you were trying to say while I laughed at you. Behind your back-ish. Is that you have to find your thing, and you have to be able to listen to what your body is telling you to, like, is going to work for it.
Exactly. And it takes work, like not the exercise or the health part, like the love part takes so much work.
Yeah, and working out what is actually, because I read an article a little while ago now, I'm not even sure, sorry team listening, I'm not even sure I'll be able to find it for the show notes, it was that long ago. It was about a woman who was saying she's been trying to eat intuitively for like 12 or 18 months, and she literally doesn't even know what's her body sounds like, as in what are the signs from her body and what are the conversation from her mind. That's
interesting.
Yeah, she's like, intuitive eating is great, but I come from a background of disordered eating, from being like, put on diets as a child, or from all this control and fight for control and back and forward. She's like, I don't even know which is which anymore. And that, I just think, is so indicative of so many of us when we first start listening to or saying, okay, well, what's best for me? And I can hear it in our conversation when we talk about this sort of stuff. I think I'm not even sure that we know what suits us anymore, or what...
No, God, no.
Yeah, and I just think that's why it's hard. It's hard to have a relationship with your body, because there's like 15 other people in this bed with me and my body. Yeah. That sounds slutty.
And it changes as you get older. Like, what worked 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, is not necessarily going to work for us now, depending on lifestyle, whether our tastes have changed, whether our bodies have changed. Like, if you've had an injury that prevents you maybe doing the thing that you enjoyed doing, or... Yeah. And
or you're at a desk, like me, for like a ridiculous amount of hours a day. And I'm just like, wow, what I need is so different to when, I had a cafe and I was on my feet all day, and I still got fat while I had a cafe because I was pretty good at eating all the delicious food, even though I ran around like all day pretty much.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Your needs change, and what you want to do changes as well. I think we really need to start to listen to the things that make us happy, the things that make us feel good, and all that sort of stuff, and then just start to shape our decisions based on that. Yeah. And sure, it may feel good to have dessert after every meal, but at the same time, it's like, does it really?
A cold Milo.
Just that minute, I
cold Milo. Oh my gosh. It's like, as soon as I get up, Jake's like, Milo. I'm like, yeah. He's like, how many scoops? I'm like, none of your damn business.
That's like me and coffee. Melissa, coffee, yes. What are you having? Flat white. Yep. How many shots? None of your damn business.
It's so
57,
bad.
Please.
Those memes of, the using the big soup ladle in the Milo. Oh my God, that's me. I am not a 2-scoop girl at all.
Yeah. And that's what I think. I think knowing that drink brings you joy, then great. And I think if you're drinking Milo with every meal, you have to look at whether or not that's something that your overall joy in life can maintain.
Yeah, isn't it? It's like the balance. If Milo's my guilty pleasure, then I can't really have other guilty pleasures during the day. And I maybe should go for a bit of a walk every evening to help my body go, okay, you can have your Milo now. Even though a Milo has like a 4 or 5 star health rating, which is ridiculous.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Don't listen to the health star rating. Samara, don't make me... Oh, my God, I just hit the red on the equaliser bar. Oh, Samara.
Hey, this is what I'm holding on to when I eat the mala. I'm like, it's a friggin' 5-star health rating. I'm good.
Dude,
I'm good to go.
So's Nutrigrain. But are you running a fucking triathlon today?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, are you an Iron Man? Then it's not 4 stars for you.
I could be. No.
Oh, it's just hidden very deep inside.
Yeah, no. I think, actually, maybe we should briefly talk about how, like, when you felt like you were like, oh, okay, I'm not in a good place right now, and what you're going to do to change that over the next couple of months.
Yeah, I think for me, I always base it on how I feel and how involved in my life I am. Mm-hmm. And I deal with some mental health issues that also tie in for exercise and stuff for me. So when I started to drop exercise out of my weekly calendar, and I sat more and I was in front of a computer screen more and doing less physical activity in whatever forms, mm-hmm. I just noticed it was my mental health that started slipping pretty much straight away. Because for me, I find that it's a way that I manage my mental health quite easily and effectively. Mm-hmm. Unless, I'm having a actual episode. But I just feel like when I stopped making the time to go to the gym or, to park that bit further away or to take the stairs instead of like shouting out to someone from the top floor, I just know, which they're all legitimate examples. I just found that the way I felt mentally started to decline. And then as soon as that's the case, my default is to just blame the way my body is and how I feel in my body as the reason for all of it. And I just think it's hard when you get in that position because I can hear myself having these conversations, sometimes with myself, sometimes with others. And I really have to acknowledge that I'm not in a great place at the moment in terms of my relationship with my body. I feel very disconnected from it. And in that sense, I'm making bad choices and I make these bad choices and it's like you pull a thread on a jumper. It just takes that one string to start to unravel it, and then before you know it, it's all on the floor in pieces. Mm-hmm. I feel like at the moment I'm wearing like sleeves maybe. Yeah. Yeah, just a bit of self-care stuff. Like I haven't been in my spa in since summer ended.
Yeah, that's crazy because you love that spa.
I do. It's all tied up to self-care for me. Mm-hmm. And there's a few things that I do to make sure that I'm operating at full potential, and that's always been some form of exercise. It's always been soaking in a bath or my spa. It's always been reading like youth fiction almost. So like Harry Potter, Maze Runner.
Love it.
Hunger Games, like I'm still 12. But yeah, I just love them.
They're so good. So I'm with you.
When I stop doing that, that's when I can pinpoint that it all sort of really skidded out the door at that point. So it's all about recognising that it's happening. And I think you were saying earlier about blaming yourself or feeling bad about it. Mm-hmm. And I've been in that for a long time too. I feel like I've been in this place where I should be doing better, I should try harder, I should be doing this. And while you're treading water, all those shoulds are just pushing you further under.
Yeah.
They
really do.
So they really, really do.
They really
and it's
do.
Actually, it's a bit of a relief to say that because I felt like as I said that, I gave myself a bit of a break that I haven't been giving myself lately.
Yeah, it's hard not to be able to talk about it, because with the blogs there's this big front, you know, you do have to be positive because you know there are people reading them who are getting a lot out of them, and you don't kind of want to jeopardize their relationship with their body.
Yeah.
But it's really important to tell them, like, this is going to be normal. You're going to have some really good times and you're going to have some real shit ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope we're not adding to anyone's, like, story in their head that you have to be exercising or you have to be eating right or you have to be doing this to, like, live happily and well, because it's not the truth either.
No,
I definitely lived very well doing none of the above, you know, but for me, if I'm in this position, it's definitely a reset position, and yeah, and I just find it's not even that on my blog I won't talk about it. I just all of a sudden have writer's block, and I don't really have anything to say. You know, it's not that I don't want to talk about it or I have made a decision that I won't talk about it. It's just like that the switch gets flicked off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've got nothing to write about today. Never mind the fact that I've been having this internal debate with myself for, you know, a month, whether or not I'm a shit human being just because I cancelled my gym membership.
Yeah.
No, can't think of a single thing to write about.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to put into words, like, how you feel, why you feel it. And it's almost, for me, it would be almost kind of admitting defeat. It's that continuing to feel bad about yourself and beat yourself up, if I was to put it into words. But it was really nice when we started recording again to, like, talk to you about it, and then you go, like, yeah, I feel the same way, and it's like, oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's the thing, we have these conversations in person,
yeah,
but when you're in that mind space, you're not having conversations in person.
No.
I don't know about you, but all of a sudden over the last sort of 2 or so months, I barely see anyone.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I've hardly seen any of my friends.
So you don't have those conversations because you're not having them.
No, exactly.
You know?
There's no opportunity to have them. And then even then, I really don't know if I would have them.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
The thing is, you'll never know. You'll never know because you're not having them.
No, it's true. And it could just be an opportunity, to talk to a friend and say, oh, I'm feeling really shit right now. And have them kind of go, yeah, me too. And get it off your chest. Like, talking to you about it is good. It gets it off my chest. I feel much better for it.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I feel like these are conversations that we need to have because it feels like failing until someone else is doing it.
Yeah, it's very true.
I'm this, like, plus-size blogger who's, you know, my blog for a while there was, like, sugar-free, gym every day, green smoothie, here's the life I'm living, which it was the life I was living.
Yeah.
And from there it's like, here's my coffee, here's my wine and cheese board. And I don't go out ever, really.
So what are we going to do about this funk?
I know, I was like, so that was 30 minutes of complaining about our relationships with our body.
We need to do something.
The answer is we have to cut ourselves some slack and watch this. Get ready for a wrap up that's going to blow your mind. No,
I'm ready.
It's probably going to be another 30 minutes. Brace yourselves. But I think we have to cut ourselves some slack. We have to start to hear our body when it talks. And I think we have to learn the difference between the voice in our head that has all those you should be doing and the voice in our, in our gut instinct, as in, yeah, you know what? Even a lap around the block wouldn't hurt right now. You've literally been in front of that computer for, 10 hours.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think you're right. Like, it's the small things, like the lap around the block. It doesn't have to be the 1 hour walk. It could just be go outside, walk around the backyard, take in some fresh air and some sunshine if you've got it.
Yeah, we've got it. We're in like a winter heat wave. Did you hear?
No, it's like raining here. It's terrible.
Are you kidding? It's been like everyone's been in t-shirts and shorts again for the last week. It's so hot here. It's ridiculous. The other day it was like 29 degrees.
What the
I know. What the F, Queensland?
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I can't.
I always make you feel bad with my weather talk.
I'm literally sitting under a doona right this second.
Really?
I'm literally under a doona.
I'm wearing one of my summer dresses, one of those ones that barely cover your butt, like summer house dresses.
Oh
I have nothing on my legs. I have no shoes on, and I'm out in my office with every door I can have open that doesn't let in road noise or spa noise or whatever.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really warm.
It's so ridiculous. I was even sitting here thinking, oh, my nose is getting a bit cold.
Really?
And you're
we just totally deviated into a massive weather conversation. Like maybe 2 minutes worth of weather.
Yeah, usual. We might
cut it and put it in the bloopers.
Yeah, I was going to say we might cut that out.
Yeah, but I think even if you're going for a walk around the block or you go out in the backyard and you lay down in the grass just to get like vertical rather than horizontal. You know, rather than sitting at your desk. I think more than actually exercising for the sake of exercising and moving your body, which have their own benefits, I think that time with yourself away from everything can really make a difference, you know?
Yeah, and focusing on like being outside, breathing in the fresh air. I was outside yesterday having lunch at my work, which there's no tea room inside. Normally I eat lunch at my desk, and I was like, no, I'm going to go outside. I really need some fresh air. And it was really, really pleasant. Like,
yeah,
there was a little bit of sun. I mean, it rained before I ended up going inside, but there was a little bit of sun. Fresh air just smells so much better than office air. And it was like 20 minutes of like just this little mini oasis escape from my work day. And it was actually amazing. Yeah.
You know, I think it's really important if you're trying to rebuild a relationship with your body and with yourself that you spend some time with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also time with people who are going to shake you out of it.
Yeah, my plan after this is to text a friend and organise a catch-up this weekend. Yeah. That is my plan.
Bless Desiree's heart. She's already set out the text earlier in this week, so I already have that locked in.
Nice.
It's happening.
It's happening.
She's really great at that. When I drop off the radar, she just checks in on me.
That's good.
Like in terms of coffee, eggs.
Yeah, that's such a good friend.
Things I like.
Can I borrow her? If only she didn't live so far away.
Yeah, and she's quite a clumsy traveller. Like every time I've travelled with her, she's ended up with some sort of injury. So
gosh.
Maybe you come here and we'll take very good care of you.
With 29-degree days, I'm on my way tomorrow.
What's one of those cheap airlines? Have a look at their discounted fares. Yeah. You could be here by tomorrow. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine how much like blog stuff we could get done that weekend.
Outfit photos every day, every hour.
It would be really fun to take outfit photos with someone that I don't have to yell at for not like getting my shoes in the picture or
taking photos of your
out of
boobs.
focus. Yeah, or my ass, which I don't really have an ass. I don't really get what he's into there.
The out of focus ones, oh my God, they kill my life. All of a sudden he's focused on a leaf in the tree to the right or a bench, or I'm like, no, when the red light flashes on me, that's focused on me. Jesus.
I accidentally left the aperture on, like, so I was shooting some photos myself, so I leave it on. I usually control the aperture and just leave the other settings on, like on auto most of the time. And I accidentally left that on for Kel, and my camera is one of the compact sort of mirrorless cameras, and he's got really big hands, and so They were terrible because obviously he was bumping the aperture ring in and out and around and focus, and it was terrible. And I couldn't for the life of me work out what the hell had happened with
all
these
his fault.
photos. And I was just like, this is ridiculous, because they looked moderately fine on the back of the camera, and every now and again I'd be in focus, so the ones I checked clearly had, you know how you do the zoom in on the face, am I in focus? Yeah, good, okay, moving on. I went through, he'd taken 90 photos, which was also a bad sign, because clearly he's struggling if there's 90 for one outfit. And I binned 60 purely because they had no focus. So from 90 photos, I had 30 to choose from, and maybe about 10 of those were like me giving directions or squinting or like swearing.
That would do my head in.
And yeah, it's funny. I say this a lot to people, in that when your relationship with your body and your confidence is out of whack, especially once you're used to having it somewhat in whack, it's like it throws a massive spanner in the works.
Oh, huge. I've noticed that as well. I'm not in photos. I don't take photos. I don't take selfies. I stopped blogging. Yeah, I stopped blogging for 3 months because I was like, can't do it.
Yeah. The idea at the moment, because obviously I've been doing all this stuff with YouTube, and I want to find a way to sort of get more videos out there, because I had a channel that sat inactive for a long time, so I'm trying to like trick the algorithm into thinking that I'm actually going to stay there. And I thought, maybe I could vlog, you know, just follow myself around with a camera all day. But do you know how much confidence it takes to talk into a camera in public?
I don't know how anyone does it, honestly. I even saw Styling Curvy did a video, just a live video in Target I think it was Target, about the racks, and I was like, I could, like, as much as I want to do that, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and if you're in the place that we sound like we're in, that's why you can't do it. Because it's like, because you care what people think about you right now.
Yeah.
Because I care what people think about me. The idea of carrying a camera around, having someone go, is that silly girl taking selfies? Or what's she doing?
Yeah, why is she talking to herself in the camera? Who does she think she is?
Yeah, and all of that impacts me. So I think while it's important to acknowledge that A, we're in a funk, and B, we can't stay here, I think it's important, especially for people who feel like they're just finding their way towards having a relationship with their body. I'm just like, do what you need to do, man, because the other side is way nicer.
It's so much better.
Like, it's a much nicer place to live.
I miss it.
And, yeah, me too. Righto, we got to make some changes, kid.
Yeah,
we'll
get
look after ourselves.
We do.
Like, in terms of headspace-wise, everything. And I just think we can lead the way with that. We can show people what it is to be down and get back up again.
Yeah, and we deserve it because we're awesome.
Yeah. Well, we could have it even if we didn't deserve it. Shit, people should even feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Not so much like certain Nazi little fuckers who probably shouldn't feel good about themselves. But
or Donald Trump.
That's another conversation for another day. That probably couldn't even go on the internet because of how many swear words I'd use. And I'd get really Australian, super ochre Australian. I'd be pulling out some C-bombs, and I'm not talking about crap. Sorry, Mom.
It's went to a bad place.
Yeah, I know. That happened. It's like late. We've been talking for a very long time.
We have.
And I'm not even sure if we've been helpful, but I'm hoping that there's someone out there listening who's having a hard time, whether they're starting out on their relationship with their body journey or whether they've had a bit of a stumble and a fall. I'm hoping they might hear this and go, oh, okay, it's time to get back up, or it's time to keep moving forward, or something like that. I really hope that's the outcome, and it's not just like it doesn't take people who feel good about themselves and shit all over their day. I really hope that doesn't happen.
And hit us up on Facebook, and I know when you're not feeling good, you don't necessarily want to put it in a public forum, but even just send us a private message and tell us if you're feeling a bit average and why you think that might be, and we can all be here and support each other, just like you and I are kind of going to hold each other accountable now.
Yeah, we'll just have each other's back. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that hit the red too. I really need to stop watching The Equalizer, but I'm so paranoid now, especially after editing my own videos, about how loudly I talk.
I can turn you down, it's fine.
Oh, thank goodness. Well, I'm going to call it a day. Let's call it an episode.
Done.
And say thank you for listening.
Catch you next time. For today's show notes, you can visit our website, www.sugarandink.com. You can also send us in any questions or topics you would like us to cover at hello@sugarandink.com. You can connect with us on social media using @sugarcoated and @blondinkaus.